So, good morning and a warm welcome to this session offered from the meditation hall at the Forest Refuge at IMS. Hope very much it will be of benefit to you and support your practice and support you in your life. So, received a message from someone saying they couldn't hear very well, so I will do my part to speak up a little, and perhaps on your end, if there's anything you can do to enhance the sound, so we'll hopefully have it good enough. So, as some of you know, if you're following along, this is the fourth of 5 reflections on or connected with mindfulness of the body. And this morning, I'd like to offer a practice which I learned and then adapted from the work of those who've developed mindfulness-based cognitive therapy for depression. And a book I could highly recommend called A Mindful Way Through Depression, authored by a group of clinicians and meditators. John Teasdale is one of them, Teasdale, if you want to find that. And the practice I'm going to share is an adaptation of a practice they offered on that course. It's an 8-week course, so that's part of what it has been. And it was called the 3-minute breathing space. And I recall that at some point in one of these books, it said that when participants in the courses, the 8-week courses, were asked what practices they found most helpful, many of them said that this 3-minute breathing space was the most helpful practice. So that's a good recommendation, and hopefully helpful even for those of us who don't suffer from depression. I feel like it's helpful with however we are. And it's a practice of pausing. So I've been recommending that as a daily practice the last few days. To stop, to sit, stand, or lie down and just pause. So the 4 gestures that I'm going to relate, which from this 3-minute pause, which can take as long as you have. I mean, it could be much longer. You could go through the 4 steps that I'm going to outline in an hour or more. Right? So please feel free to take and use if you wish, or just leave aside. These offerings and suggestions are just that. And if it doesn't feel helpful for you, just really feeling free not to pick up, but to allow this occasion, this time together, to be a support to you, and just to be a place to connect with others in some way and connect with yourself. So these 4 little steps, I'll say what they are, then we'll go through them slowly, and then I'll recount them. So and this is recorded, so if you want to check it out, it will be there later, so no need to scramble for notes or that kind of thing. So stop, S. The steps, I made an acronym out of them. Spelling safe, which I found an encouraging thought or idea of this, the way that practice in different ways can provide us with some sense of safety or refuge. So stop, the S is for stop. I've been using the word pause. So again, find your own words. Sometimes stop could feel too abrupt, and so maybe sometimes stop is, well, stop, that kind of more strong intervention that we sometimes need to bring up for ourselves. And the A is for acknowledge. So again, as I've been doing the last few days, a kind of few moments to just take stock. We'll have a check-in, or just, pausing, finding a posture to rest in, and then, how are you? How are you right now? So again, just then noticing whatever is there, whatever's happening, emotions, thoughts, energies. Yeah. And then F is for focus. I like to use the word feeling, meaning to focus on or feel the breathing. But I like to add or the body. So sense of the breathing not being the most helpful focus sometimes for some people. Just body or breathing. And just again, tuning the interest to that for a little while. And then E for expand. And when we go through the practice, some of what that means is it's simply a kind of widening or opening of the attention, right? From having been somewhat focused in one area, and then kind of opening up to sights and sounds. And so the sense that the pause can be then there's somewhat of a transitional space there for opening up to more of our experience before we continue our day. So again, as I go through these, just notice there might be, at times it might just be one of them that feels so helpful. You just want to linger with that. I mean, let's begin with this sense of stopping, pausing, again, finding a comfortable posture or a comfortable enough posture. Just allowing yourself, allowing your body to pause from activity. And sometimes that can feel so difficult, kind of get the momentums of the day and doing and got to, and, that sort of worry-based kind of got to do this, got to do just anything. So really feeling then that sense of acknowledging, like whatever's here. And sometimes we might feel something uncomfortable. Sometimes we might feel something pleasant, or a mixture of the both, or sometimes just kind of blank, kind of numb, or don't really know. It's like, yeah. So stopping and pausing and acknowledging, and not being put off by finding something uncomfortable, and really trusting, remembering whatever you know about the power of mindfulness to support us, to give us that space, that breathing space, that being space, which can allow wisdom, discernment, kindness, other helpful qualities to come in. So, yeah, just acknowledging if there's, some fidgetiness, and it can be very subtle, or it can be very, very strong. Whatever energies or even emotions, maybe we stop, we acknowledge, and suddenly a little ripple of sadness or something just comes through. And it's like, it's okay, just acknowledging. So again, and this can be very brief. I could spend a whole sitting doing this part. Acknowledging. That sense of friendly meeting, which again, I now emphasize a lot in my own practice and teaching, is it feels like there's such a strong tendency in many of us to, without realizing it, be meeting our experience with a kind of aversion or judgment or shouldn't be like this. And the metta, the kindness, metta, this Pali word for friendliness or goodwill or loving kindness, is a way of countering, like, just bringing in the possibility of there being a kind way of being with ourselves, which is simply aware and non-aggressive, just allowing. It's not anything necessarily more developed than that. Just, okay. And then after a while, you can again gently, I would say often is really helpful, gently, gradually focusing or feeling, becoming receptive to the breathing process happening in the body, or the body, some other aspect of what do you feel? Do you feel yourself sitting, or feel the body sensations or the contact places? This is often very helpful. The patches of sensation where the body is meeting whatever it's resting on, or the hands resting on the legs. So you can choose a focus, you can experiment and see which of those aspects of bodily experience actually helps to calm the attention, right? The attention can kind of go to the breathing, and it's just has a sense it can begin to rest with that, or the whole sense of the body sitting, or the contact places. So just notice what works for you, what's most helpful. And then we stay there for a little while. And I've gone through these 3 steps much more quickly than I would in my own practice. So just pause with all that just before we go on. So we're stopping and we continue to allow that sense of it's okay, stay. That can be a second meaning of the S of safe. Stay with that kind of kindly aspect of kind relational quality as we begin to acknowledge, so these steps aren't really separate, but can be helpful, can't it, just sometimes to kind of have some sense of a clear element or aspect of what's present. Again, steady the attention, which can so often be zooming around, hopping around, pulling us around, pushing us around. And so we're steadying the attention. Really important principle of the practice of the cultivation of wise attention. So in a way, that's just what we're doing. So we're noticing any beneficial effects as we go along. How we're gently flexing the attention. It's flexible. So stopping, staying, acknowledging safe. Again, that can be a general sense of just we can just not know for quite a while. Certainly for me, it's like I said, I don't really know how I am. But waiting for a while, acknowledging again, even a brief time, extraordinarily helpful. Sometimes maybe it's like, anger, and just that moment of knowing, just a little bit of wisdom comes in. It's like, oh, okay, be careful. Okay, take some care with this. And any response that's being called for can then happen from a basis of more awareness and wisdom. Just as one simple example. Yeah, our anxiety, I think it's so common for so many of us at this time to feel that. So to be able to acknowledge and feel and begin to bring this kind attention, which can begin to allow us to relate to that in a wise way, in a helpful way. And then coming to the E of safe, expand. So again, just for now, again, feeling your body, feeling your breathing, whatever you're kind of with. Just touching into the contact places where the body is meeting the ground. And then again, gently, gradually, don't know why that's so important. At least for me, maybe there's a tendency to jump and rush and push, and so can we move gently? It's like, perhaps sometimes a very quick move can be also helpful. So expand. So I'm opening my eyes and I'm taking in the experience of seeing and hearing. So just notice what becomes apparent as you open to experience of seeing without looking around. So the focal point can be rested just somewhere in front of you. And you're just sort of sensing your whole peripheral vision and noticing shapes, colors, light, shadow. And seeing if it's possible to just include all that in maybe there's some little bit of steadying, quietening, settling that's been happening. So we don't have to jump up immediately. Sometimes I can feel that in myself, open my eyes, and then something in my head goes, right, okay, off we go, next task. Zoom. And saying, okay, well, feeling the presence of the body whilst you're hearing sound, seeing colors, shapes, allowing the physical presence of where you are to gently come more into consciousness. And that brings us to the end of this session together. So, safe, stop, acknowledge, focus or feel, and expand. And whether it's 3 minutes or 3 hours, I hope this could be of benefit to you, and wish you a very good rest of your day. Thank you for your practice. And yeah, wish you well.